If you know anything about Red Eye, you know that we adore the body language segments on The O'Reilly Factor. But who cares about presidential candidates or lying politicians? No, we want to analyze some of the most evil people ever put on the face of the earth, and Canadian pop stars, too. Joining us to fulfill our fantasies, professional speaker and body language expert, Tonya Reiman. Her latest book came out in November. It's called The Power of Body Language. She is as perceptive and insightful as I am incoherent and dull-witted. Tonya, before we go to the tape, tell me how you go about becoming a body language expert. You can't major in that in college, can you?
Well, there's classes you can take, absolutely, sure. And most of the people, though, that do this business just really study everything they can get their hands on. I mean, there's anthropologists that can study body language as well. That's a really big field.
Interesting. Okay, now let's take a look at our first subject, Adolf Hitler, for a moment. Now, what is in his body language that says genocidal dictator?
Well, look at that finger. As he's wagging that finger, that's a power gesture. That's like combative. He's telling you how forceful and aggressive he is. And then, of course, pounding on the chest, it's all about me. So what he's doing, he has very powerful body language, but look how high his gestures are. They're incredibly high. It's abnormally high.
Yep.
So he is a man who's trying to tell you how dominant and how forceful he is. But what's interesting about him is his body language is actually hypnotic if you watch it. And what tends to happen is the audience tends to then mimic what he's doing because he's so powerful.
Wow. Now, do you think he's angry there?
He's angry all the time. In every single clip you see, there's nothing but anger. But that power, that anger, and that dominance comes across, and it persuades people, and that's why he had the power that he had.
When he's doing this with his chest, though, just fist bumping like that, could he just be choking on some bratwurst?
No, it looks that way, but no, he's not.
Okay.
Part of the body language expert is to be able to tell if someone's choking.
Yes.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to a guy who may be responsible for more deaths than Hitler, the always magnetic and never boring Joseph Stalin.
That's a mustache.
That is a mustache. Dr. Phil has nothing on that. Now, Tonya, you never ever see this guy smiling or looking like he's having a good time.
No. He comes across as so intense. But what's interesting about that is watch how he sways back and forth. You see this?
Yes.
There's a major incongruence in him because he's swaying back and forth, which could be a sign of frustration, anger.
Or alcohol.
Perhaps that's also possible. But then at the same time, you have this constant stoic expression. So it's interesting that you see the body movements going back and forth, yet the facial expression showing nothing but a stoic expression.
Now, he looks a little tense. Is it possible that all he ever wanted was a hug?
Yes, that's quite possible.
Okay. Now, besides great mustaches, what do Stalin and Hitler have in common, body language-wise?
You know, not much. I mean, one is very big gestures, wide gestures, moving all around, powerful, coming across as, you know, angry all the time. The other one has an intense calmness about him, which also conveys the same powerfulness. So, I mean, the only thing I see is that level of power.
All right, lastly, there's one more person we need to take a look at, Celine Dion. I want to make it clear that we're not comparing her to these dictators, but just for fun, what is Celine trying to convey with her hand movements?
Oh, this is all about being sensual and sexy, and a lot of times what she's doing is stroking her legs and bringing her hands up to her chest to tell you how passionate she is. But look at it, see this? There's all the sensuality, you know?
Greg, that's why she's a pro, because I see neither sensuality nor sexiness in any of this.
Is there anything in her movements that suggests potential danger ahead?
No, can't see anything like that.
All right. Well, that was excellent, Tonya. Please come back. I've learned more in that segment than I have in an entire week of doing this show. I know.
Thank you, Mr. Man. I appreciate that.
Yes. Coming up next, we'll speak to those lovely three-ring card girls and discuss their body language, which I might add is positively delightful. And do you like what you see? Do you hate what you see? Send us an email.